Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. Listen, guys, I've been wanting to do this interview for a very long time. I got a very special guest. As you guys know, I'm from New York. And as a guy that's an entrepreneur, I admire special entrepreneurs. So today I'm sitting with a special. When I say special, we're giving you a round of applause and giving you flowers today. You know, this guy's an amazing guy, an amazing entrepreneur, amazing man, serial investor, Mr. Jude, guys.
What up? Yo, first and foremost, thank you for having me on your illustrious platform. Greatly appreciated, my man.
My man. Listen, he don't know I'm more honored than he is. That's what he don't even know. You know, when I see a guy's story, right, and I'm inspired by it, it always makes me want to reach out to them. And to make this happen was a simple task, and I thank you for being so humble, even though you're so accomplished. The humility, guys, and I'm saying this on record, one of the most humblest men I've ever met. Very humble man. And I'm gonna tell you real fast, I met you at the bank, and you were doing an event, and you had BET there. And the way you rolled out the red carpet for your guests that came into your space, amazing.
Oh, King's Theater.
Yes.
I remember
Yes.
that was a great event that day.
God.
We had like 3,000 people in the room.
Yes.
And I remember you were in the green room,
Yes.
and I met you, and,
Yes.
and you know, we were introduced, and we were supposed to connect from then.
Yes.
So it's glad that we're finally here.
But you know what it is? They say better late than never, right?
Yep.
So we want to start to your beginning. Like, what is your typical story? How did your life start out?
Okay, well, as you know, life starts and stops every day.
Of
You know
course.
what I'm saying? Life starts every day when you wake up, and then
Yes.
it stops when you close your eyes, and it starts
Yes.
again. There's been so many different aspects of my life. I'm originally Haitian kid from Flatbush, Brooklyn. Sac Passe. You know, Flatbush, Brooklyn, you know, the real Brooklyn, pre-Starbucks, pre-gentrification,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? So mom's worked as a housekeeper in a hotel. Pops was a cab driver before
Wow.
Uber, you know, back in the days, Hummingbird
Yes.
and Black Pearl and
Yes,
all them
yes.
and all them things. So I was just average Haitian kid just trying to get by, you know, wearing Buster Brown sneakers and not having all the fly stuff that I really wanted to have
Yes.
growing up as a kid.
Yes.
So that's the first story. The second story is going to college, learning how to hustle, learning how to network, learning how to make things happen.
Okay.
You know, it never makes sense while it's happening, right? But I realized one of the greatest evolutions and one of the greatest things that I learned while I was in college was it wasn't like about Maslow's hierarchy of needs or you know what I learned in chemistry class, but what really happened was back in the days there was no logging in and registering for classes.
Yes.
One of the first lessons that I learned was my very first year I had to wait like 5 or 6 hours to register in classes. You remember you remember things like
Yes, I
that?
do.
So I used to have to
I'm
wait.
not too far behind you.
Yeah, so you know, the first year, 5 or 6 hours waiting to get a class, and then you get to the front of the class and the class is not there, right? So by the second year, you know, I knew who to talk to.
Okay.
But to get in front of the line and this, that, the other. By the third and fourth year, I had relationships where I wasn't even on the line where
getting done.
Exactly. So
He's hustling.
so that was where I learned about the, you know, I'm gonna talk about this later, the 3 C's, and the first C is having the contacts, right? So that's you know, again, I don't want to start delving too quickly, but that was the second life. The third life is like after college, working the 9 to 5, struggling, trying to make it survive in this flashy world without you know selling out my soul, without compromising my freedom.
Yes.
And compromising my integrity.
Wow.
So
Wow.
and then there's this life that I'm in here right now where I am, you know, I have the life that I said that I wanted.
Yes.
And So those are the four those are the four lives.
Guys, you got to give it to them. That's amazing. Amazing. The one thing I want to ask you is like, at what point in this story did you say, you know what, I want to be an entrepreneur? Because I think most of us, we all started off as employees.
Yeah.
At what point did it say, you know what, I want to give this thing a try where I can do something for myself?
Well, it's gonna sound crazy, right?
Okay.
So here's my why.
There's always a great stories behind crazy.
Yeah, it's all great stories
Yes.
start with a beautiful woman. Right? And there's always a beautiful woman
Okay,
involved.
okay.
So I had the pleasure and displeasure of dating a very beautiful woman early on. And as you know, beautiful women are not cheap.
You can say that again.
And I was working at Verizon at the time. It was back then. It was called 9X.
I remember 9X.
No, excuse me. It was Bell Atlantic.
I remember Bell Atlantic too.
So back then it was Bell Atlantic. So I was working at Bell Atlantic, the phone company. I was getting my little paycheck.
Okay.
Get paid every Friday. But back then there used to be CDs that came out every Tuesday.
Yes.
Right. And I remember my very pretty girlfriend at the time had asked me to pick her up Mary J. Blige CD, and I was just like, yo, I'll get it for you on Friday when I get paid.
Yeah.
And she looked at me like I was crazy. Right. So fast forward, very pretty girlfriend. Next thing you know, she's in the More Money, More Problems video, right? She's in the More Money, More Problems video, and they're talking about throw your rollies in the sky, and I ain't had no rollie, right? So that was like the beginning of the end for me, because then I had Mace calling the house, Mike Tyson hanging out, and all types of crazy stuff.
Yes.
Like she was exposed, her eyes was open.
Wow.
Fast forward, a few months after that, things go south.
Yes.
And on my exit interview,
Yes.
I'm asking, yo, what went wrong? What went wrong? We were happy, we're doing it. And she was just like, yo, I had to wait 4 days for you to get me a $20 CD. And I was just like, yo, at that point, I really didn't realize the gravity of what she was saying.
Of course.
Because I was only looking at it in a very micro level. I was just like, oh, look at this trifling, this, that, the other.
Yeah.
But what she really was telling me is that I didn't have the freedom. I didn't have the access. I didn't have the ability to do the things that I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. So that was the first time it clicked.
Yes.
Right? So prior to that, I was in the street a little bit. I had gotten into a little trouble.
Okay.
And I knew that's not what I wanted to do.
Yes.
I didn't want to be, I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to risk my life. My jump shot is okay. I wasn't getting into the league.
You knew that early, right?
I knew that early. Jump shot wasn't getting in the league. I knew I wasn't meant for the streets. So I decided, hey, you know what? Business is going to be my route. And funny enough, I was doing some research the other day. Do you know that the odds of making it to the league, what the odds of making it to the league are? And do you know what the odds of being, let's say, a multi-platinum selling artist is? It's like 1 in a million, right?
Yes.
But like in business, if you set your path correctly,
yes,
and you follow the process,
yes,
the win rate is like almost 100%.
Yes.
Real estate, if you do everything that you're supposed to do in real estate, you will make millions.
It's funny that you say that, because last episode we were talking about 90% of millionaires come through real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made me, I played sports growing up, got into a collegiate level, didn't pan out, right? I didn't have the mentality for it. But looking backwards, I'm seeing, like for instance, even your story, I see where you are today, but I said, I love where you are. But when people hear the beginning, the story becomes so much more relatable, to the point where a person see that it was just a switch of understanding, right? So like what I'm getting from you is, you realize that if I want to be that person, I got to be that person.
Point blank. And, being an entrepreneur is like a badge of honor,
yes,
but not being not being an entrepreneur is not nothing you should be ashamed of either.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
So one of the things that I always tell people, like it's cool to be an entrepreneur, for your freedom, for the money and this, that, the other. But keep in mind that my workday starts from the moment I open my eyes, and my workday ends the moment I close my eyes.
Yes.
So I'm doing 16-hour days, 18-hour days, 20-hour days, back to back to back to back. That's just the life that I live. Now, in regards to what I'm saying about the people who have the 9-to-5s, one thing about a 9-to-5, your 9-to-5 is your first investor.
Agreed.
You know, the first person that's ever going to pay you to, that's going to give you the capital, that's the other C. The first one I said was contacts.
Yes.
The other C is capital,
yes,
for you to start pursuing your dreams.
Yes.
So now you have the decision that you want to make. What am I going to do with this capital? Am I going to buy bottles?
Yes.
Am I going to get the dopest T-shirts? I'm gonna pay $500 for a T-shirt that's gonna be whack next year. That's gonna be played out. Nobody's gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'll look stupid for wearing it next year. Or am I gonna put that into a asset that will procreate? Yes. You know, it took me I think 6 or 7 years to make my first $1 million.
Wow.
Like from 97 till about 2000. I started in 1997. I didn't touch $1 million until 2003.
For those on the live, say that one more time. I want them to hear that statement. It took you how long?
It took me about 6 or 7 years to make my first $1 million.
Jude is a and I say this with conviction, a multi-millionaire, guys. With very humble beginnings. Yeah. Very disciplined and resilient. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand, the resiliency aspect of being consistent and just, you know, I'll give you a story one time, and I'm happy you did it. The one thing I want to start normalize with more people that look like us is conversations about economics. Yeah. I feel like a lot of us fear having these conversations. One day, Jude came to one of my businesses, and we sat down, and as we were talking, I said, could you do me a favor? Could you show one of my guys your crypto account? Yeah. And you did it. And the young guy, he's here today. Okay. And when you showed him, when I say you lit a fire, and this guy is so crazy, you know, you inspired him. And I said, 2 types of people comes from other people's success. Either a hater or someone that's inspired. And I want to gladly say what you did to him inspired him. Say that if he can do it, I can do it. And I know now he's hearing your story. It's like, wow. Yeah. It's an average person that did the great things to change. Yeah, definitely. You know, as I was saying before, it took me 6 or 7 years to do that. Yes. To make the first $1 million. But I think when I showed you that, I had made like $500,000 or in like a month or two. Yes. You know? Yes. And that's just how it happens, you know, like just like anything else in a building. Yes. It takes a while to dig out the foundation, you know, because how many times you've driven by a big lot, and then, you know, you go by it for a couple of days and that's happening and that's happening, and then you turn by it, oh, when they put this building up? Because the hardest part is the foundation. You didn't see that being done. You didn't see that. Yes. You didn't see the digging. You didn't see the concrete being poured. You didn't see the cement blocks. You didn't see the iron going in. All you see is the finished product. All you see is the Sub-Zero refrigerator now. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Like everybody likes the bling. Yes. You know, but the real value, the real hard work happens in the very beginning. I agree. You know, one of the things that I'm a marathoner, retired marathoner, right? And everybody gives you your props on, you know, that first Sunday in November when you run the marathon, or you run through all 5 boroughs, and everybody's like screaming for you, yeah, you're the man, this, that, the other. They see you get the medal, yeah. Yes. Yeah, what a great day you had, yes. Right? But what they don't see, the training. They don't see the training. Right? They don't see that for the last 6 months that you've been waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, even when it's raining, even when it's snowing, even when it's 100 degrees outside, and banging out 5, 10, 15 miles, 20 miles. They don't see the diet. They don't see the nutrition. They don't see the cross training. They don't see that, like the alcohol that you have to cut out your system. They don't see the stretching. They don't see the yoga. They don't see the plyometrics. All they see is you
on that day, that first Sunday in November, who ran around and you got a medal, so now you're the man. Wow. But it's like, nah, that's not where it is. So it started 6 months ago.
Wow. You know what's amazing is because like we talk on this podcast about the process opposed to the end result. And a lot of people overly want to see the end result, right? And when you overly focus on the end result, you don't learn the process. You know, like a lot of people ask me, what is the hardest thing about doing anything that I do? I say sustainability. And what I'm listening to you say is the discipline is what's catapulting you into success is the discipline. And it's going to sustain you for a multitude of time and years and for generations. And you got to say you retired from it.
Yeah,
you didn't say it stopped you. You decided to stop.
The beauty behind the thing that we've done is that we've learned the process.
Yes.
Like I've had the pleasure of losing it all 3 times. And it seems as if every time I've lost it, I've come back, you know, and I've 3x or 4x or even 5x it.
Yes.
Right? I remember back in 2008 when the market crashed and I pretty much lost everything.
Yes.
And you know, being a hustler by nature, like real estate was dead. So what did I do? I started doing short-term rentals. I started doing event rentals. I went to India. And I got to connect and I started a Indian hair company.
What?
You know, funny story about that. I know you know about the Biggie party I used to throw every year, you know, have thousands of people at 4040. It used to be a big deal. So
that's when I started hearing about you.
You know, funny enough, I'm gonna tell you a story. I used to every Saturday morning fill up my bag.
Okay.
Fill up my bag and start walking from shop to shop, showing hairstylists and people, you know, that my Indian hair, if they wanted to buy from me right then and there, they could. Or if the hairstylist wanted to start using my product, you know, they could as well. Now, you know what it is to walk into a shop
as a bill
with a bag. You know, I was a peddler. You know, I was no different than the dude that was coming in with socks, or the lady coming in with DVDs. Yes. I was just somebody else, and they used to talk to me like crazy. Let me see, come here. You know, and I remember having to put my ego on check, right?
Yes.
So fast forward a couple of years later, I'm at the 4040 Club,
okay.
and one of the hair shops owners came in, and she saw me. She's like, hey, you know, saw me talking to so-called celebrities and XYZ, and she's like, hey, aren't you the guy that used? I was like, yeah. So I see her like watching me move all through the night, right?
Yeah.
And then she's like, so how did you go from being that guy to this guy? And I was like, no, I was always this guy.
Yes.
You only saw me in one capacity because, you know, like you saw a microcosm of my life and just assumed anything else. Yeah. But I'm the same person that was coming into your shop. It's just that it was a necessity for me to come into your shop, and I was not afraid to humble myself. You know what I'm saying? So don't humble yourself to sweep the floors.
Yes.
Don't humble yourself to go into that person. Hey, I need mentorship. What do you need done? Don't humble yourself to go into somebody and saying, hey, I need to know what you know. Can you teach me? How could I be of service to you? You need coffee. You need you know, you need my services. How do I provide value to you?
Wow.
So that's the hustle, because it takes nothing. It takes nothing for you to humble yourself.
Agreed.
So,
you know what's amazing? As I told you guys before we started the episode, I told you that Jude is one of the most humblest guys I've ever met. I asked him to do that. Can you do this? I said, yeah, I want you to come to my shop and talk to the youth and talk to people about it. He's like, yeah, Q, I'll make sure. And he did that. And on top of it, like I told you, you inspired one of the guys that's a mentee to me, and that's also family to me. Because again, I feel like when a person sees it, they believe it's possible. You know, basically, my statement I like to say is exposure leads to expansion. And my whole movement is about exposing people to people, right? I'll give you a story. Years ago, I own a nightclub in Long Island City, and I have a barbershop. And while I'm in the barbershop, I was cutting this young guy's hair. He's about 26, 25. So I'm cutting his hair. I was trying to talk to him about finances. At the time, you can see that he's making money. But the way he's spending the Jude, I'm like, you won't sustain it. You're wasting all your resources trying to look like you have money. So I'm telling him to invest. He don't want to hear me. Later that night, I walk into my club. I see him. He don't know I own a club too. So I see him in the club that night. I was like, yo, what's going on, bro? He's like, yo, you're a grown man. You're walking around a club with a cup. So I looked at him and I said, what do you mean by that? He said, bro, what are you doing walking around a club with a cup? We do bottles, we do sections. I said, wow. I said, this is a learning moment for this kid. I gotta show him something. So I said, how much money did you spend tonight here? He said, we spent like $1,800. I said, I made a lot of money off you today. He looked at me and said, what'd you say? I said, I made a lot of money off you today. He said, how? I said, I made money off you in my barbershop, and now I'm making money off you in my club. He said, this ain't your club. I said, it is. He said, no, it's not. I told security, tell him to get off the chair. The security said, get off the chair. He stared at me. Next day, he's like, how can I learn finances? And asking me all these questions. I said, whatever you're doing to get it, it's showing you're doing something, and you are maybe getting it. But the concept is, are you going to sustain it, right? And that's what you said a minute ago with the foundation being laid and digging into the surface, or going into the ground rather. That's what I see a lot of young people aren't doing. So as an entrepreneur yourself, what do you think is a major distraction for when you had focus, right? Because you realized early, like, I gotta do this. And you said the humbleness, the humility. Social media makes a lot of people, I feel like, not humble, because it makes you feel like you have to keep up, quote unquote, with the Joneses. Because me and you grew up, we didn't have to see it all the time in our face. What do you think is a major dilemma for the youth as far as getting there?
One thing I think the youth need to understand is those that matter don't care, and those that care don't matter.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like the person who is impressed by that $500 t-shirt has no value will probably have no value to you. And the person who really cares about you could give a damn if you have a $500 t-shirt on.
Agreed.
So it's about learning to prioritize the things that really matter. And the things that matter are the people, the relationships. You know why people always get caught when they on a run?
Why is that?
Because they always need to go back home because they need to be around their people. Because having the money without their people doesn't make sense.
You don't feel good.
You don't feel good.
Yeah.
Everybody, you know what I'm saying? They skip out on bail. They're out.
Yes.
All the feds do is just wait for you to call mom.
They know you're gonna eventually do it.
Exactly. Wait for you to go back around the way to see your boys, because the relationships are what matters.
Yes.
So why are you risking your financial health for people that don't matter? You know, like one of the things I remember, I used to live on my mom's lived in what do you call that? Springfield Gardens.
Okay.
And every time I went over there was a guy who had the same Mercedes drop I had, except his had the rims and this and the flash and this, that, the other.
Yes.
And I used to see his joint all the time parked when I drive by, right? And one day I'm at the light, dude pulls up to me, and he's, I have my top up, and AC going, it's a hot day, and dude comes through bumping. He has a girl in the car, and he's like, yo dog, where your rims at? Right? So I look at him and I go, yo dog, where your garage at? Right? It's just like, yo, I see you parking your joint in the street every night. What are you doing?
Hustling backwards.
And it's just like, it's the same thing where people, like, they want to spend money on the wrong things. I have a friend of mine that, when we were younger, he would be okay spending that $1,800 in the bar so everybody could see him popping the bottles and stuff like that. But I would never drive with him because he would want to drive around for like an hour looking for parking before he puts put the car in the lot for $40, because nobody sees that. You don't get no cool point credits for that.
Yes.
So everybody's so focused on like looking good.
Yes.
For the wrong reasons.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Like, go ahead, bro.
No, but what you're saying, it's you know why I say it's sad, because this is such a everyday occurrence. You know, we would like to believe that more people are woke in the sense of understanding economics, but I genuinely believe that a lot of people aren't. And it frustrates me as a man who comes from nothing, who's built myself up, like literally from nothing. You know, no father, no guidance. And that's more of a person's story. You know, like you say, you know, we third world country parents, right? Learning from certain decisions that they made that I didn't want to be just a hard worker for the rest of my life. You know, how can we push more people to understand that literacy though?
It's discipline, right? It's the discipline. Everybody knows what they need to be doing. Like everybody in the world knows what you need to do to get a six pack.
Yes.
Right? You know, you need to do your exercises.
Yes.
You need to do some cardio.
Yes.
You need to watch your diet, right?
Yes.
And in 6 to 8 months you will have a six pack.
Yes.
But you could have French fries right now. You know what I'm saying? Who wants to wait 6 to 8 months to have their six pack when they can have the French fries right now that's gonna make them happy?
Well, they don't want delay gratification.
Nah, they want it now. So everybody knows what you need to be doing. Everybody knows I need to be invested in the S&P. Everybody knows I need to buy some real estate. Everybody knows, oh, the thing that's going to be popping in the next 15 years is crypto. If I put $10,000 in it right now, I know it's going to turn into $150,000, $200,000, even $1 million in the next decade. Everybody knows this, but what do you want to do with that $10,000?
You want to have fun now.
You want to have fun now, and you want to bag shorty who's not even thinking about you right now, you know?
You know, look, this what you just did. I'm smiling on the inside and on the outside is because we talk about stocks and crypto a lot. I was more of a heavier investor in stocks, but now I'm heavy. I'm starting to go heavy into crypto. I've been doing it for a couple of years, but I would like tap the water to see if it's cold.
Solana 183, Solana 183, Bitcoin 69.
But look, I'll be honest, and I no boast. Bitcoin came down at one point to like 16K, and he'll tell you I bought in at 17.5 a whole coin. I was scared to death. I started seeing that thing coming. I said, "Yo, I've just lost 17 grand." Then it came back up. I bought back in another time. I owned 2 coins. I bought my second coin at 17.8 and 17.5. And now looking back, this guy kept telling me, "Yo, I'm telling you, he's gonna go crazy." Now we're looking at the numbers of just that, just the power of investing. As you said a second ago, and I like the analogy you used as far as the six pack, people do know what they're supposed to do. But as you said, people don't see how you live, but they do see what you drive. People don't see that you don't have furniture, but they do see that you have on Louis Vuitton and Gucci. It's sad that so many people prominently believe that that's success. And I think it's a metric of insecurity that you're starting to see more prominent. People are very insecure about their reality, so they hide their reality by acting like their reality is a lot better, And would you agree with that statement?
I do. And, I have to even confess that I fall victim to that as well.
All of us.
One of the things, Lauryn Hill has this line where she says something to the effect of, even with all my logic and my theory, I drop a MFer to make sure that the ignorant niggas hear me.
Wow.
Right? And I realized a lot of the cats that I've been trying to talk to,
Yes.
they can't hear me because I don't have $1,000 shoes on, so I must be broke.
Yes.
They can't
Yes.
they can't hear me because what I'm saying, I don't have any ice on, what I'm saying, like I don't have a big watch on.
I'm tucking mine now.
You know what I'm saying? So what I've had to do just to gain the respect,
Yes.
because unfortunately my resume doesn't I can't wear my resume on my credit score on my clothes.
Yes.
Right? And that's the third C, the credit. Exactly. So the 3 C's,
Yes.
capital, credit, and contacts. Those are all you need to be successful, right?
Heard that.
So So those are the things that I've had to just be conscious of, because that 14-year-old kid,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying, is not listening to dude wearing bummy sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Because I can recall I was about 16, 17 years old. I was in playing ball in Springfield Gardens Park, and this dude, old dude, this guy must have been like 30 years old.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
At that time, right?
exactly.
At that time.
He was a
Right,
fossil.
30 was old.
At the time, he was a fossil, and he basically laid out the blueprint for me
Okay.
of everything that I needed to do to make sure I would never have to work by the time I was 25, 30, and I was just like, yeah, just pass me the rock. Shut up. You're talking crazy,
Yeah.
right? And everything that he said was actual. He, put 50% of everything I earned into the market. Buy real estate. What do you call it? Like, do not spend, don't try to impress people. Do not spend do not spend your money on things that don't appreciate.
Yes.
He told me about art and all this stuff.
yes.
All this stuff that he told me, I didn't listen to a word of it.
Yes.
Like, this was just another bum dude who was just yap in my ear.
Yes.
Right? So fast forward, when I got older enough, I was like, yo, dude knew
Right.
he was right. He was talking he was talking the truth.
Yes.
So what do? I try to impart that knowledge into some of the young people that I knew
Yes.
at the time.
Yes.
And they too was not trying to hear me. And that's the difference between the average person,
Yes.
the average person and the special person, right?
Yes.
The average and the stupid person. The stupid person never learns from his mistakes. The average person only learns from his mistakes, but the wise person has the ability to learn from other people's mistakes and does not have to go that route. And from what I heard, there was only 3 wise men out there, right?
So it's one of the 3.
Exactly. So with that being said, it's up to you. It's up to you. You know what you need to be doing. You know you don't need another pair of sneakers.
Yes.
You know you don't need a new whip. You know you don't need a new chain. So
Look at this. I was telling the guy, I know you have a nice, extensive real estate portfolio. I was telling one of my guys, when I started learning real estate myself, I said, I want to be the guy that buy deals wholesale and actually own things a lot cheaper. So the first thing I started looking into is things that was uninhabitable. So therefore, I was like, you know what? With hard money, I could acquire that asset. Like this house I'm in right now, I just sold from around the corner to move over here. This house, I bought this for $570. I bought it for $570, borrowed another $220, but I put $200 on contract, borrowed another $200 to do my construction, and I put $300 into it. My house right now, my neighbor just appraised over here for 1.6. I know I'm all in at 680, all in, 680. And I know I'm in 1.5, 1.4. Easy in this house. And I tell people, these are the things you should be listening to. Because one thing I know you do is you take assets that are considerably undervalued based on the way it looks. It's like basically finding a diamond. At the first, it look like a coal, right? And taking it through its process and bringing it back to market value. And that's what I've learned. That's why I love studying guys like you, because me hearing stories like you, right? I've only been in real estate like 6, 7 years. But hearing your stories and Welby's stories inspired me to know that, wait, so you telling me I can get that same area value a lot cheaper if I learn one thing you just said, the context? If I can get the context, that can give me the relationships to actually acquire the assets.
One of the most important things that you'll ever learn in real estate is to have the ability to see what other people can't see, right? If everybody is looking at it the same way, they'll all make the same assumption. But you have to be able to look at a property and say, hey, is there a potential for its value add here? Is this the best and highest use of the property?
Yes.
Like I've been making a killing with some of these SROs in New York City right now, using them for short-term rentals, and these are the same SROs that people are turning their nose to because they don't see the value, right? And it's just like anything else in life. You never want to buy high, right? in the group chat right now.
Yes.
In the group chat, me and my boys got this thing that we talk about, the chubby chick in the gym, right?
I'm listening to this.
So
I don't know where this is going, guys.
So everybody wants the IG chick, the
course.
hot IG chick,
Of
right?
course.
But the hot IG chick is gonna cost you way too much time and aggravation.
Yes.
But what if you were able to get the chubby chick in the gym, help her get in shape, who has the same principles of the chubby chick in the gym,
Yes.
help her develop her credit, help her take her to the next level instead of you trying to get that IG chick. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
And it's the same thing in real estate, it's the same thing in business. It's value add. And again, I'll go back to what I was saying before.
Yes.
Delayed gratification. You know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to, chasing that chick with the 250K followers that's
Yes.
in her DMs
Yes.
every day, making
Yes.
her head big and unbearable, holla at the chubby chick in the gym
Yes.
and work with her.
Yes.
And she'll be just as good to you. And, like if you're putting in the work in, value add. And again, I'm sorry if I sound misogynistic. This is group chat talk
group
that I
chat
probably
talk.
shouldn't be
This
talking
group
about
chat
on in public, but it's
think
reality.
It's real.
It's reality.
It's real. It's real. You basically saying, don't chase the ego.
Don't chase the ego.
Don't chase the ego. Which
And-
makes sense though.
And always look to add value. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And only acquire things that you could add value to or that you can get significantly below value. Because buying $1,000 watch or $1,000 camera or $1,000
Yes.
anything or $1,000 chair
Yes.
for $1,000 doesn't add any value. But
No.
buying that $1,000 iPhone for $150 off of Facebook pages or whatever, Facebook Marketplace, that's a come up. Buying that $1,000 iPhone for $200 and shipping it to the Caribbean, that iPhone 10, shipping it to the Caribbean and selling it for $400 or $500, that's value.
Agree, because the value just went up.
Exactly, because the value went up. But saying no, I need to have that iPhone 15.
I want you to emphasize on something. I know what it means, but for those who don't know, you said force value.
Yes.
I want you to emphasize a little bit on that. Elaborate.
Force value is the process of adding value, doing something that is going to force the appreciation of an asset.
Yes.
So if you buy a house and you're buying it undervalued because it doesn't have new doors and windows and the paint and it looks crazy, what you do is if it's going to cost you $10, $20, $30 to put new doors in, the fact that you spent $10, $20, or $30 now, the property is now worth $50, $60, $70. So now you have forced appreciation.
Yes.
And like I tell people, like real estate is like one of the best hustles in the world because you actually get paid 4 times in real estate.
I'm listening.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows cash flow.
Of course, cash flow.
Cash flow. You get your rent every month. You put that in your pocket. Hey, I'm doing it.
Yes.
Then you have the appreciation. Appreciation every year. On an average, every property in this country goes up 2%.
2%.
Right? Then you have depreciation, which is depreciation, the taxes, the interest, all of that stuff that you get the tax credits
Write it
from.
off.
Right? And lastly, you have the debt reduction. So every month with that cash flow, the amount of debt that you have on that property becomes a little lower when you make the payment.
So you start taking over the equity more.
So you should start taking a little equity more. So every month, you know what I'm saying, you're getting paid 4 times. And while everybody's so caught up with, I made $400 on this property, but like, F that. Forget the F.
Multiples.
Yeah, exactly. Change your scope, change your vision. Think big.
Okay.
One of the things people always say is like, yo, Jude, why do you take the equity out of this property just to put it in that? Because now you have 2 headaches. No, now I have 2 properties that are appreciating as opposed to 1 property. And even though I currently don't have any equity in this one because the equity is now, I just transferred. I didn't lose any equity. I just transferred.
Yes.
But now
double working.
Exactly. So now I have this one appreciating at 3% and this one appreciating at 3% as opposed to this one appreciating at 3% by itself.
But my question is, now, what you're saying is 100% factual. But how do you build up the mental fortitude to do that? Like, most people are scary, right? I think most people aren't mistakers. Like, I think that has to be in you. Just like when I meet hustlers, you can kind of see it from a young age. Some of the hustlers I meet, they told me they sold candy as kids, right? Some of the hustlers I met, they said that they had lemonade stands. You know, I happen to be the kid that sold candy, right? So where did you get this, like, willing to take a risk? Because you say you lost 3 times. You fell off 3 times. Average person is not getting back up after a good knockout. Tyson knocked you out, they're gonna lay there. But Tyson knocked you out 3 times.
I'm more scared of the definite, like accepting failure as a definite than the possibility of failing. Because if I don't do nothing, I get nothing. But if I do something, I might, you know what I'm saying? I might lose and I might win.
Jude, I gotta give you a ball, Jude. I gotta give him another ball.
You know, I'm more.
I don't know if that would be our head. Can you say that one time, please?
I'm more afraid of the definite failure from not doing anything than the possible failure of trying today. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get nothing. You know what I'm saying? You know you're not winning if you're just sitting home on the couch.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
So I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get up and go out there. It's just like, yo, the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, next year is coming, whether you put the work in or not.
Agreed.
You're right. So if you sit here and do nothing, you know, next year's coming. But if you do them push-ups every day,
something's coming.
Every day. That's it, yo.
He's right.
You gonna get results.
You're 100% right.
You're gonna get results. And the funny thing is, like, sometimes I shoot a goal. Oh, I'm trying to make $1 million on this next deal.
Okay.
And I failed and I only made 600,000. Oh wow.
Sounds like a good problem.
But then somebody was, you know what I'm saying, a glass half full person, half empty person is like, you didn't make the goal, bro. Nah. What they say? Shoot for the moon, even if you fail, you're still amongst the stars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You know something funny, for my risk taking, I failed a few times myself. Got back in. My first flip, I actually lost. I tell you, my first one, small number, first flip I ever did, I lost $48,000 of hard-earned, worked capital. I was sick. I was so sick to the point I was like, I'm done. I'm done. And then my mom was like, that ain't the first time you lost. She said, because the person that was giving me discouragement, they were doing something called projecting. They were basically telling me I wouldn't do it again. If I was you, and I started falling victim to that mentality.
Yeah, nah.
But you know something funny? I said this before I cut you off. Sorry to cut you off. I said, the person that's always unwilling to take the last shot will laugh at you for missing the last shot, but they don't even have the courage to take the damn last shot. And I looked at myself, I said, I'm the guy that will take the last shot of the game. Even if we lose, I'll walk with my head up high. But I kept looking at someone who wouldn't take the last shot, discourage my mentality or kill my momentum or drive, but they're not willing to do it. And I had to really reflect, like, this person ain't you, you know?
And this person shouldn't have access to you.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
this person should not have access to you. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you can't change the people around you, so you got to change the people around you.
Yes.
So.
Yes. You brought his bombs today, huh?
Nah, it's just keeping it real. You know, like, you are an average of the 5 people who are around you. You know what I'm saying? And as good as it may feel for you to be the big fish, yeah, I'm the man. I'm the dude who buys all the drinks. I'm the dude with the big car. I'm this, that, the other. If that's you, you're in the wrong room and you stunt your growth.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You need a bigger pot. You know what I'm saying? You need to clip the plants and put it in a bigger pot so you could grow.
We like something called forks plants, so we don't got to take care of it. Right, I don't have to water it. I wipe them down every 2 to 3 months and we good to go. Well, now what you're saying is facts. Here's my next question for you. Based on your portfolio, I don't want to ask doors. I hate asking doors. I don't care about it. My question is, what is your biggest acquisition ever?
the biggest acquisition ever that I've ever made are relationships. You know what I'm saying?
I know it's gonna be something deep.
Like, I've made, I've made, I don't want to brag, but you've seen some of the things that I've done.
Talk, no,
right?
please talk. Let them hear it.
But I've picked up properties for like, 700,000 and and flipped it to like 3 or 4 million.
Yes.
I've done those on the regular.
Yes.
But the biggest come up that I've ever had
Yes.
was getting in the room that could consistently get me those $700,000 deals to flip to 3 or 4 million. So everybody's focused. You know what I'm saying? Like if you do a deal,
yes.
If you do a deal, that's cool, but you don't have a business until you have a cycle, a repetition, and
Yes.
and you don't get that repetition on your
Yes.
own. It takes a team.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There's people on the team that you don't even see. You know what I'm saying? Like the coach, the trainers.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The GMs, this, that, the other. These are all the people. Everybody's talking about LeBron this, LeBron that.
Yes.
But his strength coach, his flexibility coach, his nutritionist.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the come up to me.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like I could start kicking addresses to you.
Yes.
I could tell you about 196 Washington. Google that, and you'll see what I picked that up and how I tripled that. I could tell you about 519 West 141st Street, how I picked that up for 700,000 and I sold that for 3.1 million dollars. I could tell you about 282 Halsey Street, a property that I got on a plane to Jamaica to find somebody to sign it because it was to sign a deed over to me because it was going to auction the next day. That I jumped on a plane while everybody else like, oh, we can't get in touch with the owner. I found out the owner was in Jamaica, jumped on a plane, went out there, got the property for like $400,000, took it back, took the deed back, paid the bank the $120,000 that was owed, held the property for like 4 months while I did my renovation and sold it for $2 million. You know what I'm saying?
Hustler.
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 So that's
Hustler.
I could tell you all those, but the real come up is the relationships. I could also tell you about when I had the big house in New Jersey that was under foreclosure.
Yes.
And I threw a party.
Yes.
And one of the girls who came to the party worked at Chase, and then she saw my house on the foreclosure list and called me up and said, yo, bro, I see your house on the foreclosure list. And I started getting defensive, and she's like, no, I'm calling to help you. I'm calling to help you do a modification.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
Wow.
so the contact
Yes.
was bigger than any dollar amount.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? That was like one of the that was an angel in disguise. You know what I'm saying? So as I said, the relationships is what really matters. The people is what really matters. That's the plug.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't.
It's crazy.
It ain't the work. You know what I'm saying? Because you get the work, but if you ain't got the plug, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when everybody else got a drought? If you got a solid plug,
Yeah.
and there's a drought out there, do you have a problem?
No. Still good to go.
Still good to go.
We don't feel it. I never felt the recession. I never felt this. What I do feel is in the economy. No, I say what I do feel is in the economy is definitely you got to work harder to make more money now.
Yeah.
Before it was a lot more lax. One thing I will say, you brought up the term foreclosure. I actually got into real estate because of a foreclosure. My mother, at the time, we were young, probably early 20s. And I had 4 vehicles, paid off all cash, Benz, BMW. My guys would tell you I had every damn car you could imagine. And in my mind, I was rich. My mom was in foreclosure. Prideful, she never told us. But even if she told us, I would have never did nothing because mentally, I wasn't there.
That's not your job.
Yes.
In your mind.
Yes. So long story short, she lost her home. And I always tell people this story. My mother ended up moving above my barbershop. And when my mother moved above my barbershop, it was embarrassing to me. It was humbling. And it was also embarrassing. Not in the sense of where she is, but in the sense of I felt like I failed her. And every time I would see my mother come to my barbershop and go up to the upstairs apartment, I felt like a loser. I felt like a failure. And I said, damn. So for the next umpteen years, I locked in. I stayed in my barbershop for like 8 days a week. And I saved so much money that I lost track of what I saved. I didn't even realize how much I saved until I realized what I saved. I was just dumping money, just dumping. I used her as such a motivation that one day I would say like 4 years, I finally looked at the money. It was probably like 260,000. And I couldn't believe it. I stayed in that shop so much for 4 years, I probably saved $250,000 plus. I said, you know what? I'm gonna get you a house so big that you're gonna cry about this house. And my mom, I drove her to a house one day and she was like, why are you bringing me to this house? I said, just look at it, do you like it? And she goes, I love it, it'd be nice if we could afford it. But I never told her what I was doing. I gave her the key and my mom started crying. And I realized at that moment that when your mission is bigger than you, God will make the mission bigger for you. And that's why I realized today that my mission was bigger than me. So I get inspired by guys. You know, when I came to your financial literacy thing, I sat there. I got to sit with Julian, Gordon. I got to sit with these guys and I talked to these guys. And Welby's like a brother for me now. I love this guy. And when you get around people who come from similar backgrounds, but the humility that they have, when they could be showing so much more, but choose not to, I tip my hat to guys like you, brother.
Yo, in regards to what you're saying, one thing I heard about what you said is, take this down. The reason that you think that you can't is the reason that you should. You know what I'm saying? So many times people tell me, oh, I can't do this because I don't have the time because I have my kids. No, you need to do this because you have your kids. Oof. You know, I can't do this because I don't have the money. You need to do this because you don't have the money.
Agreed.
So it's sometimes that motivation, has to sneak up on you, but you just got to pay attention and not let the adverse situation cripple you, but motivate you. You know, like what would have happened if Michael Jordan didn't get cut from that team in high school?
He wouldn't be Michael Jordan, probably.
Exactly.
You know something funny? Before, when I first got in real estate, I got a lawyer at the time. His name is Richard Grecio.
That's my man.
I know. And I'm gonna tell you something funny. So I'm on Rich's boat one day, and Rich is like, that's family. And he goes, I got this guy, he's heavy in real estate, he's an influencer, and you gotta meet him. I'm like, who? He goes, Jude, but no, mine, I'm fresh in the game. It's like when you get into a situation, you don't know all the players. So I don't know nothing about nothing. I know I got a couple dollars I can invest. And I'm excited about being in the rooms because I come from a world that's different. I come from more of a business ownership. I never did real estate like that. So I'm like, they're like, yo, you gotta meet, he tells me your name the first time. After he said your name, I started hearing it so much. I'm gonna say what I said to myself, who the hell is this Jude Bernard guy? And then when Richard started talking about you, I used to act like I know who he was. But I'm like, I keep hearing this man's name. I said, I gotta find out who this guy is. I gotta find out who he is. So then one time I talked to a guy named Dad, I'm like, Two, there's a guy I gotta meet, man. He's like, who? I was like, yo, his name is Jude, bro. I gotta meet him. He goes, yo, Jude is having something at the theater. You need to get over there. And I said, I'm on my way, I'm coming. And the humbleness of being able to be next to you, the first time I met you, I felt like I already knew you. That's how much you were like welcoming. There was no sense of arrogance. It was a sense of enjoy yourself. Do you need anything? When you said that to me, I'm looking at you like, shouldn't be the other way around. He's like, you need anything? You good? You sure? I'm like, I don't even know this man. But I felt like it was like a connection with you. I was like, yo, this man showed me that success is mirrored. So that's one of the things I will honestly look at you in your face and say, I learned from you. Always be humble no matter where you sit at, right? Always be humble. While I'm eating $1 meal or $1 million meal, I'm gonna always act the same. And that's one thing I saw about you that inspired me to want to actually put this together. I was like, wow.
I'm gonna share one more story with you.
Yes.
Speaking of Richard Grecio.
Yes.
I first met Richard Grecio because he was partners with somebody that I went to school with.
Okay.
And this was like back in 2008, 2009, after the crash.
Yes.
I was in a real jam, and I had a case that had to go to a appellate court.
Okay.
With no money, right? Now anybody who knows who's ever been in any kind of litigation, you know, if you go in appellate court, that's like 40, 50 stacks off the rip.
Easy.
Right? And I remember me going into, like, you know, that water jug that everybody has with the quarters and stuff like that. I remember going into that water jug and cashing in like about $10,000 from that, right? Cashing that in. They used to have like this, TD Bank used to have this thing called a penny arcade or something.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
I used to go in there every day, and then I had hit off Richard with the I had hit him off with a retainer.
Okay.
And we rocked out on that case, of that 10,000, an appellate case, on that $10,000 retainer for years, right? Never took another dime from me on that case until, you know, I was in a position to you know, make payments on it and XYZ, right? And people ask me all the time, it's just like, yo, Jude, you so fight the power, you so pro-black, and you got this big white boy who's your lawyer. I'm just like, he was there for me, and I will always be there for him forever. You know, that's going to be my attorney forever and ever. You know what I'm saying? Comes to my kid's christening, my kid's birthday party, knows my mom, my dad, all that other stuff. And again, the contacts, the relationships, right? The who's going to be with you when you're down. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all good. It's all good when you're up.
Who's going to be the way down?
Exactly. So that is another thing that I wanted to make sure that people understand, that you have to cultivate these relationships, and you have to be there for the people. You have to be there for the people who are there for you. And you can't expect somebody to be there for you 100% if you're not being there 100% for them.
That's crazy.
So it's give and take.
Yes. You know something funny about Richard? This house we actually in, he actually did this house. I've never owned a house without him doing a deal.
Yeah.
Never in my life. I don't feel comfortable with no other lawyer. It's because he assessed the deals. When I first started, he'd assess it. He'd tell me his opinion. Q, I don't think you should do this. Yo, this is a little bit too much for you at this time. Get the experience. He'll talk to me like that. And I love him for that.
Well, that's the importance of having a team, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to make sure when you're in the real estate game, the people who are on your team are really on your team and not just transactional. You don't want that real estate broker who's just trying to put you in a house just to get a commission. You don't want that home inspector that's gonna shit on every house, just so that you don't take that house and have to go look at another house just so they could charge you for another home inspection. You don't want a mortgage broker who's gonna put you into a product that's really not good for you, that you're going to end up foreclosing on. You need to mess with people who are personally invested in you, who have your best interest at heart, and that's the only way you end up winning.
So I have to ask this question: the Brooklyn Bank, what inspired this bank? What inspired it?
Funny enough, and again, it's 360. My boy, you know him too, Danny Sutton.
Of course.
That's my
Blue.
brother. Exactly, that's my brother. And I remember it was like 2015, 2016, and he was telling me, yo, Jude, I got a property for you.
Okay.
Right? And I was just like, yo, yeah. And I put him off on this for like 6 months. And then I said, all right, I'll go take a look at it.
Yes.
And I'll make the decision, you know, and then I'll just tell him, no, thank you. And then he'll stop bothering me about it.
Yes.
So I go in there, and I remembered prior to I told you, like, back in 2009, 2010, when everything was falling apart, I had a spot called Loft 676 on Broadway. 676 Broadway is a beautiful loft. I was doing like $6,000 a week in rentals, you know, which was crazy money for me at that time.
Of course.
All right, so
that's $24,000 a month.
I ended up losing that business and getting kicked out, like walk of shame. Because the community put me out, right?
Wow.
And I had vowed that I would never go into anybody's spot again unless I owned it. And then when Danny brought me to this spot, I was just like, yo, this is it. This is my redemption, right? But the caveat was I got that property for about 25 cents on the dollar of what it was worth, right? But the caveat on it was like, yo, you have to do something good with that building.
Okay.
You know, because it was a church at one point,
Yes.
and the pastor, sat down with me. It's like, yo, we have people offering us twice, 3 times as much as you're willing to pay for it. Why should we give it to you? And then I was like, yo, I knew what I had just went through in 2008, 2009, 2010. My house being under foreclosure, me sleeping on people's couches,
Wow.
me having to park my car on the George Washington Bridge and walk across to my house because I didn't have tow money. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want anybody else to suffer through that. So I said, yo, you know what? I'm going to start this organization. I'm going to start this nonprofit organization. I'm going to use this building as a hub, and I'm going to call it the Brooklyn Bank. And what we're going to do is, instead of deposits and withdrawals of cash and credit, we're going to do deposits and withdrawals of information. And we're going to teach the people how to change the way that they think. So now that they can learn a little bit about credit, they could know about risk management, they could know about real estate, they could know about stocks, crypto, insurance, and all the other things that I was not privy to that got me into the mess that I was in the first place. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's bigger than me. And the beauty behind the Brooklyn Bank is, like, the people that I'm helping, right? They a lot of them turn out to be partners that I end up doing deals with. Wow. So even though it's a nonprofit organization, I'm not making any money off of it, God has still blessed me in the sense that He's given me these contacts, another C, He's given me these contacts that help me to propel and pay the bills and have a very comfortable life. So
that's an amazing story. I have to admit that. Amazing. Think about it. The pastor was offered, you said 3-4 times what you were offered, but still went with your vision.
Yeah.
You must have sold that to him.
No, I didn't. I didn't have to sell to him because Blue vouched for me, and that's the power of having these relationships. Like I tell people all the time, like, you have to keep your relationships tight.
Yes.
Like, people have to feel good about you.
Yes.
Like the group chat.
Yes.
My man met this girl, had a great time with her. Had a great time with her at the party, this, that, the other. They exchanged number. They were talking back and forth, and then she went cold on him. Just cold.
Wow.
What happened? He ended up in the group chat, and things that he did, and his reputation, and this, that, the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Wiped him out.
Yes.
So he wasn't moving in a way where that when his name walks into a room, it represents properly. Like, I'm humbled by the fact that you said that you kept hearing my name and it turned out to be all positive.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So that is something that I've been conscious of crafting.
Yes.
For the last, damn near 30 years.
Yes.
Like, I love talking that ish. That I could go, every day I go online and I post, and there's nobody talking crazy in my comments because I ain't do nothing for somebody to talk crazy to.
Yes.
Like, the only time I lie to investors, I'll lie to investors and tell them that we made more money than we really did. And I'll pay them because I'm more concerned with making sure that my investors are happy rather than, I'll come out of my pocket and be like, yeah, everything worked out well. Here you go.
You don't want problems.
I don't want no problems. Like, my reputation is sound, clean.
Yes, it is.
And, that's how the blessings keep being blessed.
And in a world of quote unquote influences and people smoking mirrors, I will say that your mirror is very clean. And listen, I've met Blue before I met you. I met Welby before I met you. I met MG before I met you. I met Julian. I met all of these guys, Richard. And every time I kept hearing people that I respect, right? Nothing but good. Nothing but good.
Thank you, bro. But like I said, and it's pretty easy.
Yes.
Like, it's an easy process. All you have to do is be respectful and truthful with everybody that you interact with, and it'll work itself out. And even if somebody doesn't appreciate what you have to say, but you keep it real with them, and you understand, you explain yourself, like,
Yes.
yo, like, what I'm saying, thank you, but no thank you, and this is why, and I appreciate you, and I'm sorry, but
It's not for me.
it's not for me. Respect people. Don't ghost people. Don't lead people on. Just
Stand by principle.
yeah. What they say now? Stand on business.
Stand on business.
Stand on business.
Stand on business. So before we get out of here today, for one, I want to thank you for giving me so much time. This man is a very busy man, guys. And for him to even come today and give us this game and his gems, everybody like gems. I'm like, tell me about it. I know. That's why I wanted you guys to really hear this man's story, because I know his story is definitely something significant and something that can inspire someone to do more. So for the person that wants to start investing, what would you tell them are very key things that they should know before even stepping into the water?
Educate yourself. That's the first thing that you need to do. Cut. What they say? Measure 3 times, cut once.
Yes.
So make sure, like, whatever you are investing in,
Yes.
you understand it. Like, I remember before I got into, the Indian hair business.
Yes.
At one point out, everybody was selling Indian hair out their trunk, but didn't know the difference between Remy and pack hair.
Yes.
Didn't know the difference between Chinese hair, Malaysian hair, and Chinese, Malaysian, and Indian hair.
So you
You got to study it. No matter what it is, you have to immerse yourself into
Yes.
it. There's about a 3-mile radius in Brooklyn that I could tell you every property that's on the market in there. I could tell you what sells. I could tell you who the agent is, because I studied. This is my neighborhood, and I make sure I know it front to back. I could tell you, who all the attorneys are that handles the cases who in that area, because it's important that you educate yourself, because only through education and information can you compete and you can make informed decisions.
Agreed.
So that's the first thing that I would tell people. Like, before you say, oh, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna buy Nvidia. What does Nvidia do? How long has Nvidia been going on an upswing? Is it due for a pullback? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't just say, oh, this is the hot topic. This is the hot stock. This is what everybody's talking about. Oh, I'm gonna jump on this Nvidia chain and then watch it pull back on you, because you did not take the time to educate yourself and properly inform yourself so that you could make informed decisions.
Look, he said the term Nvidia. My guys know I bought Nvidia dollar cost average $180 before the split. I bought $38,000 worth of Nvidia, right, for $180 a share, because I listened to a guy Richard brought on the boat. Richard brought an investor on the boat. He just said, there's a company, he's a tech guy. He said, there's a company called Nvidia. He said, look, I'm not giving you financial advice, but I'm telling you, Nvidia. Ask these guys every single day, right? Guys, there's this company, Nvidia. It makes sense based on what he was saying. I started doing my homework. I got so comfortable with it that every week I just kept buying.
Yeah, dollar cost averaging.
Yes.
Again, and I would also tell people, like, investing is not a one-time thing.
No.
This is something that you do,
A lifestyle.
like, weekly, monthly. Like, this is something that you do. Oh yeah, I put $1,000 into my mutual fund. I'm good. Nah, it's $1,000 a week. It's $500 a week. It's $200 a week.
You heard that?
So it's something that you do. It's understanding that every dollar that comes in, there's a dollar for taxes.
Yes.
There's a dollar for my investments. There's a dollar for my bills, and then whatever's left is mine. A lot of people start off with instead of doing that, there's a dollar for the club. There's a dollar for the sneakers. There's a dollar to trick.
Oh my God.
And then if there's anything left, I'll pay my bills.
And sometimes we're gonna be honest, they negate their responsibilities as far as their children. You know, as a father, you know, I want to commend you doing an amazing job with your princess. You know, I'm watching her grow up. You know, I get to see her online, and I'm watching the whole story. You know, I'm amazed. I remember when you brought her home.
Yeah.
Blue was like, yo, I gotta go see Jude. The baby just came home. You just said 3?
Yeah, it's about to be 2.
2 years old. Like,
Exactly. And you know,
time go fast.
and the funny thing is, like, you gotta believe in something that's bigger than yourself.
Yes.
Right? Like, there's always something bigger than yourself. And we were just sharing a little joke about how I personally have been emasculating myself by peeing sitting down, just so that my daughter can see what it's supposed to look like when you sit, you know, when you go to the bathroom.
Yes.
So I'm just like, yeah, see, daddy pee pee on the potty. You gonna pee pee on the potty? So, you know, like, there's something bigger than myself. You know, as a man, as a man. There are things that you never do, and I remember watching one of your videos about you know, like things that happen, and you know, as a man, there are certain things you never you know, stop being a man's man.
Yes.
Right. But you could be a man, but understand that there are things that are bigger than yourself.
I agree. You know what? I'll do a tea party with my daughter. My daughter could put a little wig on me. I'll let her do it. I ain't gonna take no pictures, but for my daughter, I'm sorry, guys. We will go above and beyond for our daughters because we would hope that someone would love her and appreciate her to that magnitude, what they're willing to go above and beyond for, right? So when we transfer roles and like, you're a husband now, and I expect you to take over the role and be a great leader to her, right?
Exactly.
You know, before we get out of here, you have anything else you want to say?
No, I just want to thank you so much.
Come on, I appreciate you more, man.
I appreciate you for sharing your platform. I look forward to continuing to see your growth, your success, and
I want to do something. I want to do something with you guys over there.
big things are going.
Yeah, you already know. Yo, you know something? Before we get out of here, Welby and me got the headline something in Atlanta the other day.
Yeah.
Welb never seen me do my motivational speaking. Yo, he was like, boy. I said, well, I get busy. I said, I told y'all, man, what we do, real estate and mentality works hand in hand.
It's
all in unison.
There's not one without the other.
Agreed. So what I'm trying to get at is next time they do something, they better call Q.
I got you, bro.
Nah, big bro, I love you so much, man.
All love,
Just so you know, I speak Creole too.
Oh, bon bagay.
I'm pelo Creole. Madam went before I say we.
Oh, okay.
Before I say.
Okay.
So I learned Creole, man.
You just called her a fat Haitian. You know that, right? All right, cool.
Well, listen, guys, I love you guys. I appreciate you. She didn't hear that. But listen, let them know where they can keep up with you at.
I'm on IG. I'm on IG, Mr. Jude Bernard. I think I'm on TikTok, Mr. Jude Bernard.
Okay.
That's gonna be my new thing. So
that TikTok is good.
All right, cool.
You got a lot of content for it too. You did a block party the other day, man. I was like, I gotta go over there, bro. Where was that at?
That was right there in the hood, and we're actually doing another one soon. So I'll definitely keep you.
And real fast, if you're doing another, when you're doing the seminars at the that you did before, when are you doing that again?
Let's put one together for next month.
You heard that, guys? Next month, we're doing a big one. Let's do it.
All right.
I'm telling, I enjoyed it. The way he put that thing together was amazing. And I'm being honest, as a man that sat in the room, they put me in the front, and I was just inspired, bro.
Thank you, brother.
Because that's my mission. My mission is to elevate and help people that don't believe and giving hope to the hopeless.
You can't do it by yourself. So.
Agreed. Guys, I love you. Appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Yeah.
Mr. Jude Bernard.
Salute.
Listen, go follow this man. Go show support. And definitely, you tapped into a real one. This man is the real deal. And don't let that go over your head.